Anyways, I should probably tell you what the game is about. You've probably already left the video by now, just based off of how retention works. Basically, the game is about killer plants. If I go under here and find some of the old cards for the game, I made over 200 cards for the original game, and they're just an index cards. And yeah, as you can see, it's not great, but they were let me try to fit this fully in frame here. They were fully hand-drawn cards of Venus flytraps. This one was one of the newer ones I tried to make. They don't look great. My artistic skills when I was about 7 to 10, when I actually worked on this and stopped working on it for a couple years and came back to it. This wasn't even made by me, this was made by my sister. But it's not good, but I'm going to put, just imagine there's a card right here. I'm holding it in my hand with amazing animations and graphics. There are a couple cards, I'll flash them on screen. There's Backid. He's based off of a bat orchid, which I'll probably show a picture of on screen. They're all supposed to be based off of dangerous plants, or just normal plants, honestly. There's one based off of a carrot harpoon called Carpoon, because I'm just creative like that. And the only thing, a lot of things are not being kept, you know? They do have health. This EHP idea was this weird thing where instead of having health, you could like add the HP later. Super weird stuff. The attacks aren't going to be the same. There's going to be more like Magic, the Gathering fighting system, but also like a Pokemon rarity system kind of, but not really because it's got classes as they're known. I'll go more in depth on it, but if you like the custom trading card game community and like me, you also think that a lot of people are not putting it on the Game Crafter. They're really cool ideas, or I'm gonna be perfectly honest, not to hurt anyone's feelings, but the artwork for a lot of trading card games is not great, probably because it's a lot of very young people working on it. However, I admire people like Scribbles with Rachel, especially the Chaos Galaxy trading card game, Vinkfi, stuff like that, even though that channel stopped uploading. There's just not many trading card games outside of the main ones, the mainstream ones that people like to play, and I'd like to have a well put together in mechanics, community driven, still homemade. I mean, obviously from the Game Crafter, if you've never heard of it, they allow you to make your own games and whatnot on actual high quality cards, so it would look and feel like an actual card. But just stuff like that. I want to be one of those people. I want to be like the Chaos Galaxy, you know, living out my childhood of creating custom trading cards by making my own high quality versions of them, much better, obviously. So if you like the art and you like the idea and you're willing to hear out, I understand if without the rules video or any mechanics or anything about it, the art is all you have to go off of, but if that is enough to hook you into the game and helping me with my dream, this is good for you. And I guess now I'll hand it off to my future, actually past self, because I already just recorded it, self doing the time-lapse and voiceover of a card that will be in the game called the Sympathizer. Ironically enough, it's not a plant, but, you know. Please enjoy. Alright, so welcome to my voiceover of this art process. You can see I'm laying in a reference image of a different artwork I did. And I struggled a little bit with the background color here because I was going to make the character red and I wanted it to pop on, you know, green. You can see me testing it there, but then I thought it would be a little more interesting if it wasn't the opposite color. It was, you know, that would give me some room for the background, and I don't know, just a little more interesting. There's a lot of red and green combo in my cards here, so I decided to go with blue. a blue-green, kind of dark cyan color. It's pretty hard to explain colors. So, dark cyan, we'll say. You can see I started by, I kind of think of things in shapes. That's how I kind of did this, both of these so far without any reference for these human figures, which does mean that they're not exactly perfect, but as you can see, laid out kind of a trapezoidal shape. And then like a rectangle, another trapezoid, and then like a triangle below it for the legs coming together. And then just think of the arms as like rectangles and trapezoids, put some boxes on the end for hands, just didn't give them too much detail. I think that's a fairly rudimentary way to look at things, and it's not an art tutorial or anything. I'm not breaking any new ground by saying any of that. Just to say that I think it does. I think it does really help with things like this, especially for a style where things need to be a little more blocky, a little bit more loose. I think that's kind of part of the charm of this. So this is in 4 times speed. This took me about 30 minutes. Well, 35 minutes roughly. All of that time, and that's not long. Although this is me actually figuring out the one that I just referenced, the Venerator, for this, the one that I'm going in the same kind of style as. I mean, obviously they're all in the same style, but you know what I mean. The humanoid figure thing that will not be normal for this game. It is based off of plants and whatnot. It's just for lore reasons and to make them more powerful. But anyways, I completely lost my train of thought. If you couldn't tell, this is not scripted at all. Yeah, but I started putting in a staff, give it a little more interest. I'm not going to do the splitting thing with it, although you will see me try it later. I still haven't given the hands much detail. I do change the position of the staff because I did kind of face it in a weird way where it kind of just looked like the thumb was wrapping around it and the fingers were just kind of like tapping on it because it wasn't faced the same way as the hand and the arm, or at least it wasn't angled correctly for that kind of thing. Oh, I remember what I was going to say before about this taking 30 minutes. That doesn't seem like a long time, but you know, some of my best ones, like the Bacchid, the Bad Orchid based one, that took me like less than 45 minutes, and that's literally my favorite artwork in the game so far. Then other ones, like the Perlison, I don't remember what the name of it was, but the one with the big mouth. That one took me like over an hour, even though it was fairly rudimentary in angle and in shape, and it's not my favorite one, but they can't all be, I guess, especially since it's probably just gonna be like a, you know, a tanky class null, which means nothing to you at the moment, probably, because I am going to explain the rules more in depth later. Anyways, you can see I kind of struggle with this hand for a while. I want to make it coming up, but then I realize it looks like it's facing away and coming up at the same time, so that's kind of ugly. Then I go to make it kind of like bend upwards and look more like it's coming, like facing the correct direction, but then that kind of leads to it being too large, and that's not really what I was going for anyways. I think that's kind of a weird thing to do, to just like hold up your hand, bent it like 90 degrees, and be like curling your fingers. So I go for a little bit more of a loose hand position. I do struggle with the thumb a bit. I still am not perfectly happy, but especially considering the style and what the other hands looked like on the other one, I don't mind so much. This is an ethereal being, I will actually mention. It's kind of why it's the whole point of them is kind of ambiguity. I make the background kind of look like a maze for the same purpose of this theme of ambiguity. That's what a lot of the rare cards in this game are going to be like. They're going to have backgrounds that have to do not so much with what's literally behind them, but what they stand for, you know, what they represent in the game and in the lore. So, as you can see, pose is laid out pretty well. Got the highlight color on there. I went for like maybe a scythe thing at the bottom, but I made it too thick. and I decided I didn't like it either way. I thought even if I did it correctly, it probably wouldn't look that good. And then since the other card, the Herald, is supposed to be like a herald to these ethereal beings, you know, it's the name of it, I thought I'd put like a brain type thing on top of the staff because, you know, that obviously is based off of a brain, and it's about to be, you know, it's about knowledge and creation. That's kind of some of the things that these guys are for. So I thought it wouldn't be too terrible, and I try not to look too far into those things. I can't say too much because of lore reasons, but, you know, brain on top doesn't look terrible. A little cube at the bottom because I like how things look blocky in this. I think it looks nice. I wouldn't consider the messy style of this laziness. That might be biased towards myself though. But I just really like a messy, blocky look for things. I think it has a really cool effect, especially in digital art. I think it provides a lot. Especially for like messier things. Like this card that I'm going to be adding called the Hydrothermal Vent. And the back aid looked pretty good. Snapshot, you know. You can see me putting in the background there. This is where I got to put in some of that green. But the background itself obviously is still rooted in kind of bluey green tones. So yeah. And then I realized the other one had like 3 tones in it, so I'm going to put in a lighter, more obviously green color, more towards the yellow part of the spectrum. Because I do like to do that with my art. Move up and down the spectrum as you get towards lighter and darker tones. Doesn't matter where you're moving, as long as you're moving like opposing to each other with like darker and lighter tones. And it looks pretty good most of the time. As you can see, I'm basically done with this. I just kind of sat there for a little bit because my dad wanted me to come do something. Just put in a couple more green highlights. And after that, I mean, this thing is basically done. It looks pretty good, fits in well with the style of the other one. They are supposed to work in tandem, kind of. Supposed to be synergistic, so yeah. That's been the art process for this. I hope you stick with me for this game. I know I haven't explained the rules or anything, but I think it looks pretty good. And here's a final still image. Also, please subscribe. It would really help with this project. I can't stop this beat. It's moving.